What's going on, guys? Stan here, DD Speed Shop. As always, we just got back from SEMA late last night. Man, morning came early today. Anyways, I want to do a video kind of explaining my version of SEMA, the truth about it, should you go or should you not, and yeah, just a real quick one. So, I didn't do any filming while we were there. And, well, first off, so SEMA's, I'm pretty sure it's the biggest automotive trade show in North America, at least. It's once a year in Vegas, always kind of right at the end of October, beginning of November. It's giant. There's like 4 huge convention centers, like 2 stories, like whatever you think the biggest thing you've been to, this is probably bigger. Anyways, so it's typically aftermarket stuff, new products. It's got a little bit of everything in there. But for the most part, people think about SEMA. Anyways, I'm sure people are kind of watching this channel. It would be classic cars, new stuff for cars, supercars, all that kind of fancy stuff is what really gets focused on. So I didn't do a lot of filming while you're there because, honestly, I remember before I ever went to SEMA, I've been a few years now, you're watching all these people and it was like, you're seeing all these pictures and all this sort of stuff. And now when you're walking through, everybody and their dog has their camera on live stream. They're trying to take pictures. They're doing all this sort of stuff. And that's cool and good on you. But if you want to see the real pictures, the best people to watch are like, you know, the big names, the photographers, all that. Because they'll get access either before or after the show. You have to see what the car looks like with all the light on it and all that versus someone like me, some, you know, Joe Schmo walking through the show, happen to, you know, get myself a pass. Walk around trying to take a picture. There's 50 people walking by, people talking, there's music and all that. You're just not going to get a very good view of what the show is. Well, it would be a very good view of what the show is, but you're not going to get what the cars are. So, obviously, I love going for the hot rod alley and all that. That's what the main thing's called, all the old stuff, where, you know, the big names are Motor Trend and Holly and Edelbrock and all that. But they do everything, anything and everything that you could possibly be interested in. So, I mean, they have a whole section of wheels and tires, which is ginormous. So anything from any brand of tire you want, any wheel you want, any sort of tire equipment, new stuff, semi stuff, recycling tires, it's ridiculous. Then they have a section of tools. So if you're in a business where you have whatever, there's always somebody new coming up with a tool. You can always kind of walk through, do all that sort of stuff. This year there was some EV stuff, watch a fair bit of EV stuff. Not really my jam. And then, of course, the hot rod aftermarket, all that with new things coming out, where we're going, what it's all going to be. And then there's, I mean, fasteners up to, you know, zillion-dollar motors and all that coming. So, a little bit of everything. Now, I want to tell you the truth of what SEMA is really like for the show goer. Now, I'm sure you've all heard you're going to walk a bazillion miles. You are. You absolutely are. So I didn't steel-toe boots because I'm not that bright. But you're going to walk across the whole thing. I don't even know how big it would be. It'd probably take you 45 minutes to walk from one end to the other, non-stop walking without looking at one thing. Now, they have done some stuff, if you're smart about it, which we learned on the last day. They have a little underground tunnel with Teslas running back and forth. That sure saves a lot of time. So do that. You're going to put a pile of miles on. Not going to lie, they don't have a whole lot of seating and they don't have a lot of good food options. So be smart about that. Have a good breakfast, because if you don't, you'll be like Danny at 1 o'clock. Your legs will hurt and you're cranky, and we end up overpaying for some pretty terrible pizza. But hey, food's a pretty big part of my life, so let's be honest. That's the thing you really got to be aware of. As you're walking through, there's so many people. It is unbelievable how many people are there. I don't even know what it would draw in just a few days, but it is ludicrous. So if you're trying to get in there and get pictures and get some one-on-one stuff, probably not going to happen. But if you walk through and you have a pretty open mind, there's all sorts of new things, and you can really learn a whole lot. You get to see those cars up close. I love seeing all the cars up close, and I mean this with all sincerity because I'm one of them. Stuff looks better on camera. So you'll walk up and see a car you see on the internet and go, ooh, that's a little rougher than I really thought it was. And, well, it makes me feel better about my junk because my stuff's rough. And a lot of people out there are doing the same idea, which is great. It is a fortune for people to have a booth in SEMA. See, you know, you got to be respectful of what they're doing and all that because, man, I can only imagine the time and effort that goes into, some bozo like me walks past their booth and gives them, 2 seconds of my time. And they've spent days of travel and tens of thousands of dollars, I'm sure, for rental space and all sorts of stuff. I was watching a video there on VinWiki, and they were talking about how much a booth costs. It's something like a 10 by 20 booth or something like that is like $10,000. And then if you want electricity to it, or if you want your stuff moved in, it just compounds from there. So some of those decent sized booths are like $100,000 or something like that for 3 or 4 days. Just ludicrous. But for my $40, it was great to walk through. I really do appreciate it. If you want to meet people, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I got recognized, no bones about it, but there was all sorts. Anybody you can imagine on Motor Trend was there walking around. You can, be all, see them and all that. It was cool. I mean, everyone's just kind of doing their own thing and whatnot. So I really did enjoy that. I did write a few notes down here I want to talk about. So yeah, it's just absolutely phenomenally giant. Pack your walking shoes. You guys decide what you want to do. They do it in different sections. So if you want to be in, like I said, in the tire section, you can spend a whole day at tires. So if you're going there for your business, by all means do that. And then the hot rod, they call it Hot Rod Alley, which I believe is the center hall. That's where all the fun stuff is. But a lot of it is almost like a media circus. There are a few little things here and there which might be new and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I was looking at the Phytech booth a lot. They had dual fuel injection for tunnel around the carburetor style looking thing, and they were showing. I was talking to Mike there about how they have their new in-tank fuel system, which bypasses into the tank, so you've got to run 2 lines, you've got to return line back, and all sorts of new things like that, which is just phenomenal. I mean, all the suspension stuff you could come up with, the big names like Roadster Shop and all that is all there. Gives you great ideas, but I don't have the finances for that just quite yet. This year, a lot of the big guys have pulled out. So like Chevy wasn't there. I don't think Ford was there. Dodge had a really big booth. I think Toyota did. So it's kind of a sign of the times there. I'm not really too sure what the heck was going on, but it was a little bit different. They had a battle of the builds. So if you want to go there and show people that were, I guess they're battling for something for SEMA, I'm not part of that. I don't do well with competition. I like just kind of build my own junk and putting out there to be endlessly judged on the internet. But there were some cool cars there, and in years past they've done a under 30 kind of challenge, like people under 30 doing stuff, which is kind of cool. They're definitely pushing. I will say, in SEMA's defense, they're huge at keeping the hobby alive and fighting for it and all those things, which is fantastic. It's a place where everybody can get together and do all that stuff. They have classes and seminars and meets and all that. I didn't go to any of that. I'm not gonna lie, but at the end of the day, I was pretty tired after walking around and looking at all sorts of stuff. So if it's something you're thinking about doing, I definitely recommend going. I know a lot of people, and I'm kind of one of those myself, I was so excited to go the first few times. Then you start going and you realize, oh, it's kind of more of the same. There's a few new things sprinkled in and all that. So the first year you're going to go, it's just so overwhelming. Then the second year is probably your best. And then if you go, I think it's my 3rd or 4th time, it's more of the same. And the changes aren't quite as monumental because they're, every year just a little bit happens. So there is that. I know a lot of the media guys, when you hear like podcasts stuff, they talk about how much it's kind of like, oh, SEMA this, SEMA that. It's like a big, so many people, and it's a big to do and a lot of miles, and you're walking around, all this stuff. And it is. But you know what? I'll never forget when I was, in my early 20s and all that sort of stuff, watching as much as I possibly could, trying to take as much content in as I could about SEMA, people doing and taking the pictures, and I appreciate so much of it because I wanted to go so friggin' badly. And then once you go, you're like, oh, okay, been there, done that. So if you're feeling like you want to go, I absolutely think you should go. It's worth the time, it's worth the money, it's worth the hassle. Whatever you got to do to get in, do it. Supposedly you're supposed to have, so for business, you got to have a legitimate, be part of a business or an organization to get in there, because it's technically a trade show for, businesses or the aftermarket, not just random Joe Schmoes. So if you're a carpenter and you want to go to SEMA and you don't have any sort of affiliation with anything automotive, probably going to be tricky to get in. This year they did open it though to Friday, I believe, of the show. We left on Thursday, late Thursday. No, early Friday? I forget what it was. Anyways, and we didn't go there Friday, but it was open to the public. I don't know if it cost money to get in or not, but that's pretty cool. And they have a giant show out front. So whatever you want to see, you can see a lot of stuff out front. Some companies, which are just bananas to me, I don't know what it would cost. They have a booth inside as well as outside, which is just, man, you got to give those guys credit. They're giving or they're trying. Outside, they have all sorts of drifting and car shows and ride-alongs and anything you want to see outside is there. Actually, Motor Trend was outside this year, which I thought was pretty smart of those guys. Because they had all the meet and greets, it was all outside. The weather was kind of mediocre, but the meet and greets and all that, all their live broadcasts and all, it was all outside, which I believe was free to anybody to go see. So if you happen to be in the area, you could have just popped in there and met your favorite celebrity like Mike Cotton. I love that guy. And yeah, so I don't know, it's a good time. I recommend everybody goes. That is the truth of it. With anything, there's your ups and downs. Take it with a grain of salt. If you love hot rods, you really should go. You should support the industry and be part of it. I mean, say you've done it at least once. I'm a big believer in that now. I've been hearing these things for so long. You know, doing SEMA, doing Power Tour. There's a bunch of other things I want to go to, and pick and choose what's the favorite for you. As much as I love SEMA, I think Power Tour is more my jam now. You know, being on the open road, doing the back roads, meeting cool people, hanging out, eating good food, and kind of being on your own time frame. SEMA is definitely go, go, go. It's, I mean, a lot is crammed into 3 or 4 days. It's an unbelievable amount of work from everybody around, and I think everybody wants to get in, get out, do their time, and go. Also, 3 or 4 days in Vegas is all you need in Vegas. So, so it fits perfectly with the SEMA timeline. So that's it. I hope I covered everything. Hopefully I didn't scare anybody off, because I really do think you all should go. I just think you have to be very honest with yourself as to what it's going to be. It's not a car show. It's not a parade. If you want to see one booth and you got to go to another, and it might be a half-hour walk away, so be aware of what you want. There's maps, there's planning, there's all sorts of stuff, but there's people. My God, is there people everywhere. So be aware of those things. Get your badge, make it happen, fly down there, enjoy your time, support the automotive industry, and if I miss anything, feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll try and answer it the best I can, or on one of our next live streams on Saturday nights. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it.